In the heart of the Middle East, a conflict centuries in the making is reaching a boiling point. The rivalry between Israel and Iran has burst into the open with direct military exchanges. This clash of ideologies and advanced military technologies carries profound global implications. Recent escalations, including drone and missile attacks, have transformed a Cold War into a hot confrontation. On April 13, 2024, Iran launched a direct assault on Israel, firing over 300 drones and missiles. The skies have become a high-stakes chessboard, where sophisticated systems are key. The success or failure of these technologies can determine the fate of nations. The escalating tensions between Israel and Iran are a stress test for global security. In this era of high-tech conflict, defense is key. Nations must protect their cities and people from aerial threats. Advanced air defense systems are the guardians of the skies, technological shields against attack. These systems combine advanced radar, computers, and precision interceptors to create a protective bubble. Two prominent systems are Israel's Iron Dome and Russia's S-400 Triumph. The Iron Dome specializes in short-range defense. The S-400 is a long-range system designed to dominate airspace. They are the shields of modern warfare, each a marvel of technology. Understanding them is key to understanding the geopolitical landscape. The story of Israel's military cannot be told without acknowledging its crucial partner, the United States. This alliance, forged in shared strategic interests and democratic values, has been a cornerstone of Middle Eastern geopolitics for over half a century. It is cemented by billions of dollars in annual military aid, joint training exercises, and intelligence sharing. The United States ensures that Israel maintains its qualitative military edge, guaranteeing technologically superior weaponry. The Iron Dome system itself is a prime example of this partnership in action. During the 1973 Yom Kippur War, a massive U.S. airlift resupplied the Israeli military, turning the tide of the conflict. Joint military exercises have become routine, allowing American and Israeli forces to practice integrated air and missile defense operations. This support has enabled Israel to build one of the most advanced militaries in the world. The shadow war between Israel and Iran has found its most active theater in the fractured landscape of Syria. For over a decade, the Syrian civil war has created a power vacuum, a chaotic environment that Iran has exploited. It has systematically built a land bridge stretching from Tehran to Beirut, using Syria as a crucial conduit to arm, train, and fund its network of proxy militias. This network, the Axis of Resistance, includes Lebanon's Hezbollah, as well as Iraqi and Afghan Shia militias. From Iran's perspective, Syria is not just an ally, it is a forward base, a launching pad against Israel's northern border. In response, Israel has waged a relentless air campaign within Syria, known as the War Between the Wars. The objective is clear: to disrupt Iran's military entrenchment. Using advanced fighter jets, precision-guided munitions, and superior intelligence, the Israeli Air Force has conducted hundreds of strikes. These missions target weapons convoys, command and control centers, and storage facilities. It is a high-stakes campaign of attrition, designed to prevent Iran from turning Syria into a new front line. The Syrian chessboard became more complicated with the entry of Russia. In 2015, Moscow intervened decisively to save Bashar al-Assad. This introduced a powerful new player and significant risk of miscalculation. Russia deployed advanced air defense systems, including the formidable S-400, to protect its assets. This created a complex airspace where Israeli, Russian, and Syrian forces operate in close proximity. To avoid an accidental clash, Israel and Russia established a deconfliction hotline, a critical communication channel to coordinate military actions. This delicate balancing act highlights the intricate dynamics of the modern Middle East. Israel must navigate its operations to avoid confronting Russia. Meanwhile, Russia must balance its support for Assad and ties with Iran against its relationship with Israel. This has created a tense status quo, where Israel continues strikes while avoiding Russian forces. The Syrian theater is a microcosm of the larger regional conflict, a shadowy war of proxies, precision strikes, and geopolitical maneuvering, where one wrong move could have explosive consequences. The Middle East is defined by shifting alliances and rivalries. The historic rivalry between Israel and Iran is central, forcing regional powers to pick sides. Countries like Saudi Arabia and the UAE now find themselves aligned with Israel, sharing a fear of a nuclear-armed Iran. This led to the Abraham Accords, brokered by the United States, normalizing relations between Israel, the UAE, and Bahrain. They created a new regional security architecture against Iran. Iran has responded by strengthening alliances and accelerating proxy warfare, pouring resources into Hezbollah and supporting the Houthis in Yemen. For Israel, the threat is now a 360-degree problem. This multi-front threat scenario is the ultimate test for its layered air defense network. The Iron Dome emerged from urgent necessity as Israeli towns faced relentless rocket attacks from Gaza and Lebanon in the early 2000s. The 2006 Second Lebanon War was a turning point. Thousands of rockets rained down, overwhelming existing defenses. Israel's Ministry of Defense called for a new solution, a system fast enough to intercept rockets with seconds of warning, smart enough to ignore harmless projectiles, and affordable for mass deployment. After considering various options, Israel chose to develop its own system with Rafael Advanced Defense Systems. The Iron Dome project began in 2007 with engineers racing to create a revolutionary defense. The breakthrough, using radar and analysis to predict rocket impact points, launching interceptors only at real threats. This selective strategy made the system both effective and cost-efficient. By March 2011, the first Iron Dome battery was operational. Its first real test came weeks later, intercepting a Grad rocket headed for Ashkelon. This success proved the concept and changed Israeli civil defense forever. The Iron Dome quickly became a symbol of innovation and resilience. It marked a shift from helplessness to proactive protection. The era of running for shelter with no warning was ending. The Iron Dome's birth was not just technological, it was a national transformation. Israel now had a shield against the storm. The Iron Dome's power lies in its three-part system. First, the detection and tracking radar scans the sky, spotting threats up to 70 kilometers away. It instantly relays data to the Battle Management and Weapon Control Unit, the system's brain. This command center rapidly calculates each rocket's path and predicts its impact. If a rocket threatens only open land, the system ignores it, saving interceptors for real dangers. When a threat is detected, the missile-firing unit springs into action. Each unit holds 20 Tamir interceptor missiles, ready to launch in seconds. The Tamir missile is agile, guided by real-time updates and advanced sensors. It maneuvers toward the incoming rocket, adjusting its course mid-flight. As it nears the target, a proximity fuse detonates the warhead, destroying the rocket in mid-air. The entire process from detection to interception takes just seconds. This automation and precision have saved countless lives. The Iron Dome's efficiency is not just in its technology, but in its smart, selective engagement. It's a seamless defense operating at lightning speed. The result, a technological marvel that redefined urban protection. The Iron Dome's reputation was forged in real combat, not just in labs. Since 2011, it has faced thousands of rockets from Gaza and Lebanon. Its first major test operation, Pillar of Defense, 2012. Over 1,500 rockets fired, with 421 intercepted, an 85% success rate. In 2014's Operation Protective Edge, over 4,500 rockets were launched. The Iron Dome intercepted 735 with a 90% success rate. These results dramatically reduced casualties and damage, allowing daily life to continue amid conflict. The system's success made it a national asset and a symbol of resilience. But adversaries adapted, launching massive volleys to overwhelm batteries and increasing rocket range. This forced constant upgrades to Iron Dome's software and hardware. Despite these challenges, the system's impact is profound. It saves lives and gives leaders time to make measured decisions during crises. By blunting rocket attacks, it reduces pressure for ground invasions. The Iron Dome has changed the psychological and strategic landscape. Its interceptors streaking across the sky are now iconic images of defense. The system is more than a weapon, it's a shield for the nation, its legacy turning fear into hope. Unlike the Iron Dome, the S-400 Triumph was built for a different battlefield. Developed by Russia's Almaz Ante, the S-400 is a long-range surface-to-air missile system designed for air supremacy. Its mission: create a no-fly zone, denying enemy air power over vast areas. Conceived during the Cold War, it was meant to counter advanced threats from the US and NATO, stealth bombers, fighters, and cruise missiles. The S-400's doctrine is strategic denial, not city protection. By deploying it, a nation can keep enemy aircraft at bay, even deep in their own territory. It's a powerful anti-access area denial weapon, forcing adversaries to rethink their strategies. The S-400 evolved from the S-300 with greater mobility, range, and advanced sensors. It entered Russian service in 2007, the same year Iron Dome development began. The S-400 is a network. Radars, command posts, and diverse missiles working together, its presence changes the game for any opposing air force. It's both sword and shield, defending territory and projecting power far beyond borders. The S-400's message is clear: this airspace is protected and entry is forbidden. It's a strategic weapon, not just a defensive tool. The S-400 redefines what it means to control the sky. The S-400's strength comes from its multi-layered integrated design. At its core are advanced radars scanning hundreds of kilometers and tracking dozens of targets, including stealth aircraft. Once a threat is found, a high-precision engagement radar locks on guiding interceptors with deadly accuracy. The S-400 can fire different missiles for different threats, long-range, medium, and short-range, creating overlapping kill zones. For distant targets, it uses the 40N6E missile reaching up to 400 kilometers. For closer threats, it employs the 48N6 series and Agile 9M96E2 missiles for last-ditch defense. A mobile command post fuses radar data, assesses threats, and selects the right missile for each target. The system is highly automated, reacting instantly to complex attacks. Mobility is key. All components are truck-mounted, allowing rapid relocation and increased survivability. The S-400 is built to counter the most advanced aerial threats, not just simple rockets. Its layered defense makes it one of the world's most feared air defense systems. Attackers face multiple walls of interceptors, a daunting challenge for any air force. The S-400's combination of sensors, command, and missiles creates a nearly impenetrable shield. It's not just about defense, it's about controlling the airspace. The S-400 sets a new standard for modern air defense. The S-400 Triumph is a powerful instrument of Russian foreign policy and a symbol of its global influence. Moscow has used the export of the S-400 as a strategic tool to build alliances and challenge American dominance. One prominent example is Turkey, a NATO member, purchasing the S-400, sending shockwaves through the Western alliance. The United States objected, arguing the system was incompatible with NATO and posed a security risk to the F-35. Russia stationed S-400S in Syria, giving it control over the skies in the eastern Mediterranean. The sale of the S-400 to China has significantly enhanced its ability to project power. The S-400's reputation is built as much on its political impact as its technical prowess. It is a geopolitical game-changer. The S-400 is a strategic weapon for great power competition. Every shield has its limits. The greatest challenge facing any air defense system, from the Iron Dome to the S-400, is the threat of saturation. An attacker can overwhelm a defense system by launching more projectiles than it can handle. Adversaries now launch massive, coordinated volleys, firing dozens of rockets, all aimed at a single area. This tactic is designed to exhaust resources and punch a hole in the defensive screen. A large-scale attack could exceed capacity. This could involve swarms of low-flying cruise missiles, jamming radars, and decoy drones designed to confuse sensors. There is no perfect defense. A nation's defense requires a layered, integrated network. The second great challenge for modern air defense is stealth technology. Aircraft like the F-22 and F-35 are designed to minimize their radar cross-section, making them difficult to detect. Systems like the S-400 use advanced radar to counter stealth. The Iron Dome faces challenges from small, low-flying drones and cruise missiles. This drives innovation, with defense manufacturers developing more powerful radars and aircraft designers refining stealth. The ability to detect stealthy targets will determine who controls the skies. The strategic challenges facing Israel are magnified by the specter of a nuclear-armed Iran. For years, Iran has pursued a nuclear program that the international community suspects is to develop nuclear weapons. A nuclear bomb in the hands of a regime that has repeatedly called for Israel's destruction is a scenario that Israeli leaders have vowed they will never allow to happen. If Iran were to acquire nuclear weapons, it would fundamentally change the balance of power in the Middle East. For Israel, a single nuclear weapon detonated could mean the end of the nation. This is why the prospect of a nuclear Iran is considered an unacceptable red line. The ultimate defense is to prevent the adversary from acquiring the weapon in the first place. The nuclear shadow forces Israel to consider a military strike against Iran's nuclear facilities. The Middle East faces peril as the shadow war between Israel and Iran nears open confrontation. Exchanges, including Iran's April 2024 missile and drone assault on Israel, have shattered old rules. Future escalation could be triggered by attacks from Iran's proxies, causing mass casualties in Israel, potentially sparking direct conflict with Tehran. Another trigger, Iran's nuclear program. Evidence of weapons-grade enrichment may force Israel to act with a preemptive strike, unleashing a multi-front missile war. Syria remains volatile. An Israeli strike killing Russian advisors could provoke a severe response. A more aggressive Iranian posture in Syria could prompt a larger military operation. Internal politics in Israel and Iran could also push the nations toward conflict. In this tense environment, the path to war is wide, while de-escalation requires immense political will. The world watches, hoping diplomacy prevails. A direct military clash between Israel and Russia seems unlikely, given their deconfliction arrangements in Syria. It is a nightmare scenario military planners must consider. Such a confrontation would most likely be triggered by an accident or a grave miscalculation in the crowded Syrian airspace. Imagine an Israeli airstrike goes awry and hits undeclared Russian personnel. Moscow could decide to paint an Israeli fighter jet with the engagement radar of its S-400 system, or even launch a missile as a definitive warning, creating a moment of extreme crisis. In such a direct encounter, we would witness a fascinating and terrifying technological showdown. The Israeli Air Force would be pitted against the S-400, one of the world's most formidable air defense systems. This would be a high-stakes duel between stealth technology and counter-stealth radar. This hypothetical clash underscores the immense risks inherent in the current Syrian situation. It highlights why the deconfliction mechanism between Israel and Russia is so critically important. A direct, full-scale war between Israel and Iran would not be a contained regional conflict. Its repercussions would be felt across the entire globe, sending massive shockwaves through the international political, economic, and security systems. The first and most immediate impact would be on the global energy market. Iran, positioned at the strategic Strait of Hormuz, could attempt to close this vital choke point through which roughly a fifth of the world's oil supply passes daily. The mere threat of such an action, combined with attacks on oil tankers and production facilities, would cause oil prices to skyrocket, potentially triggering a global recession and creating economic chaos for nations worldwide. The conflict would inevitably draw in other global and regional powers, creating a complex web of alliances and escalating tensions. The United States, as Israel's primary ally, would almost certainly be pulled into the conflict, providing logistical intelligence and defensive support. This could put American forces in direct confrontation with Iranian forces, raising the risk of a wider US-Iran war. Meanwhile, Russia and China, who have closer ties with Iran, would face a difficult strategic choice. They would likely use the crisis to challenge US influence, turning the conflict into a major proxy showdown between great powers. A major war in the Middle East would trigger a massive humanitarian crisis. The scale of destruction and loss of life in Israel, Iran, Lebanon, and neighboring countries would be immense. Millions of people could be displaced, creating a refugee crisis that would dwarf previous ones. The conflict would further destabilize the region, potentially leading to the collapse of governments, and creating new vacuums for extremist groups like ISIS to re-emerge and thrive in the chaos. Ultimately, a direct confrontation would have a profound impact on the global security order. It would demonstrate the failure of international diplomacy and could shatter the norms of state-on-state conflict. The use of vast arsenals of ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, and drones would provide a terrifying glimpse into the future of warfare. The risk of escalation to non-conventional weapons, particularly if Iran's nuclear facilities are targeted, would cast a dark shadow over the entire planet. The road ahead is perilous, and the choices made in Jerusalem, Tehran, Washington, and Moscow will determine whether the world can steer clear of this abyss. We stand at a precipice, looking out over a geopolitical landscape defined by breathtaking technological advancement. The showdown between Israel's Iron Dome and Russia's S-400 illustrates the central security dilemma of our time. Nations are increasingly reliant on sophisticated shields to protect themselves from diverse aerial threats. The Iron Dome has proven its worth, saving lives under constant fire. The S-400 Triumph represents a different philosophy of power, designed to dominate airspace. The contrast underscores that there is no single, perfect solution to security. Both systems are pinnacles of human ingenuity, driven by the need for survival. For every new shield, a sharper sword is being forged. Continuous innovation is an absolute necessity for survival. The story of the Iron Dome and the S-400 is a cautionary tale. A conflict fueled by powerful technologies would unleash global shockwaves. The ultimate defense must lie in the wisdom and restraint of leaders to pull back from the brink.